I'm going to ask right now that you please stand for the presentation of colors, remain standing for the national anthem sung by Trooper Brad Dansby, and remain standing for the invocation by Chaplain Garner.
Present, huh?
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Would you join me in prayer, please? Heavenly Father, 40 years ago today, 3 men who were servants of the people of the state of Oklahoma that we call Oklahoma State Troopers gave their life for the safety of the people of this state. And before them and since then, there have been other state troopers who've also paid the ultimate sacrifice for the people of this state. Thank you that when the Sermon on the Mount was given and you said, "Blessed are the peacekeepers, for they shall be called the children of God," we claim that today. So may we remember today these 3 heroes. For truly every man or woman who wears the brown uniform or the uniform of any color is a hero that separates us from evil. We ask your blessings upon each of us gathered, and may we always remember. In your name we pray. Amen.
We have some special guests with us today. We want to recognize them. We have former Congressman Wes Watkins, who's in the back. We have Representative Dustin Roberts, Speaker of the House Charles McCall, and Representative J.J. Humphreys. Thank you for being here. We also have family members of some of the troopers that have given the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty. And I'm going to ask now that those families will please stand and be recognized. They're over here. Thank you. It's my privilege now to introduce to you the Commissioner of Public Safety, Rusty Rhodes.
Good morning. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why I became a state trooper. The courage these men showed and the sacrifices they made is what made me want to do what I do today. I've been a state trooper for 27 years now. And I still look back on this day with great respect, great honor, and quite honestly, sadness. As I look through the crowd, I see the family members, I see the friends, I see the loved ones, I see all the brown shirts. I was 10 years old 40 years ago today. But here we sit in remembrance of these men and their sacrifice, and all the men that were here on this day. You know, there's a couple of things that I can assure you of. As long as there's an Oklahoma Highway Patrol, the men that sacrificed in this event and the men that have given their life for the people of this state of Oklahoma as they wore the brown shirt of an Oklahoma State Trooper will always be remembered. For these men are the very DNA of who we are as state troopers. Their memory is part of the fabric of that brown shirt that we wear. While today is a day that we honor them very openly, please know that your loved ones, your friends, your partners, and those of you that were here for this tragic event will always be remembered by Oklahoma State Troopers. I do want to say thank you real quick to the retired troopers who put this together. Very, very impressive. Unfortunately, I never got to see the old memorial. I saw pictures of it. But thank you guys for what you did in putting this together. Thank the State Troopers Association for the money they dedicated to it. The City of Caddo, thank you for everything you've done throughout the years of maintaining the old memorial and helping with this one. Everyone that donated money to help assist in this cause, I thank you for that. And for everyone that put in the labor to put this together, I certainly thank you for that as well. So again, thank you all for being here. It's very important to us that you're here. Not only the family members of the men we're recognizing today, but also the family members of troopers we've lost in the line of duty over the years. It's a very special day for us. I'm very humbled to be here in front of you today. Having said that, God bless the families, and God bless the Oklahoma Highway Patrol. Thank you.
You know, there's another group that I want to thank real quick before we invite the chief up here to say a few words. That's the group that came down here and did the work. I don't know if you know it or not, but there were a lot of retired troopers and there were a lot of active troopers. This was all done by troopers, folks, and I think we need to recognize them as well. One more group. I just thought something, Chief. Sorry about that. One more group. I want to ask every retired trooper that was assigned to this event that day or during the week to please stand and be recognized. Everybody that was involved, please stand and be recognized. Thank you. Now it's my honor to introduce the Chief of the Highway Patrol, Mike Harrell. Chief.
Good morning. Guys, I know it's hot out here. I'm going to keep this extremely brief. This is definitely not about me today. This is about these men and women that laid the foundation for who we are and where we're at today. tell everybody on almost a continual basis that troopers have always been my heroes. Not unlike the commissioner who was 11 years old when this event came. I look back, and that day, which now wears the moniker of the darkest day in the history of the Highway Patrol, and I wouldn't argue that point. I don't think anybody here would. But if you would, just really quickly, in closing, if you just look around at everyone that's here, and this brand new, beautiful monument's been erected up here in front of us. A core group of people got together, retired guys, and put this deal together. They reached out to friends and family and members of the patrol, active and other retired, and the town of Caddo. And what we have here is no less than an amazing accomplishment in the amount of time that it took to put this together. So, all that to say this, I would offer you this. Although it was the darkest day in the history of the Highway Patrol, I would say, looking around right now at what we have here and the people that are gathered here today, that the sun is definitely shining on us today. And I definitely believe that Pat, Billy, and Pappy are smiling down looking at us right now. Thank you.
Okay, now it's my honor to introduce our guest speaker for today. Jerry Askins has served the people of Oklahoma for more than 30 years in a variety of roles, ranging from a judge to the legislature to lieutenant governor. She currently serves as administrative director of the courts, where, under the supervision of the Chief Justice and the Oklahoma Supreme Court, she coordinates judicial operations and personnel throughout the state. The administrative officer of the courts also provides leadership and staff support for the Judicial Nominating Commission, the Oklahoma Children's Court Improvement Project, the Board of Certified Interpreters, and Oklahoma Access to Justice Commission. Prior to assuming this latest position, Jerry served as special advisor to the governor on child welfare and Pinnacle Plan implementation. In that role, Jerry worked with the Department of Human Services, leading her expertise to the state's reform of the foster care system. When Jerry was sworn in as Oklahoma's 15th lieutenant governor in 2007, she received the rare distinction of being involved in public service in all three branches of state government. Born and reared in Duncan, Jerry Askins received her Bachelor of Arts in Journalism from the University of Oklahoma and earns a Juris Doctorate from the OU College of Law. She served as special judge for the District Court of Stevens County from 1982 to 1990. In 91, the governor appointed her to the Pardon and Parole Board, which elected her as its first woman chairman. She later served as executive director of Pardon and Parole and as deputy general counsel in the office of the governor. In 2014, Governor Mary Fallin called upon Jerry once again to lead the Pardon and Parole Board by serving as the agency's interim executive director. Askins was elected as the Oklahoma House of Representatives in 1994 from the District 50 and served her full term of 12 years. During her last term, Askins became the first woman to lead a caucus in the Oklahoma legislature when she was elected Democratic House leader. She won statewide election as lieutenant governor in 2006 and served in that role till 2011. After leaving office, Jerry served as associate provost for external relations at the OU Health Science Center, with her primary focus on the new Stevenson Cancer Center. Askins also is a member of the First Christian Church in Duncan, where she still sings in the choir. It's my privilege to introduce to you the Honorable Jerry Askins, a longtime friend and supporter of the Oklahoma Highway Patrol.
Good morning. Still sounds like morning with that rooster crowing over there. So I'm going to think that maybe it's only as cool as sunrise might be. Commissioner Rhodes, Chief Harrell, special guests, congressmen, speaker, state representatives, but especially family members. We are here today really to pay honor to you and those that you represent. And thank you to the committee of volunteers who made this happen, who had the vision, who raised the money, who gathered supplies, did the work. any and all steps. Thank you. Without you, we would not be assembled here today. I'm truly honored to be able to pay tribute to these 3 Oklahoma Highway Patrolmen, Trooper Billy Young, Trooper Pappy Summers, Second Lieutenant Pat Grimes. You know, each of us lives out many roles, and these 3 were no exception. They were fathers, sons, brothers, husbands, friends, colleagues, Oklahomans, and Americans. Each one of them is a true hero in his own right and a wonderful Oklahoman who epitomized selfless service. Today, we pause to remember their lives, even from 40 years ago, to reconnect our memories and to rededicate this memorial space so that new generations will be able to come and remember. Will Rogers, when thinking about our state's location in the middle of this country, once said, "Oklahoma is the heart, the vital organ of our national existence." Certainly we believe this to be true of the Oklahoma Highway Patrol. The service of its men and women is vital to the peaceful existence of our great state. Troopers Young and Summers and Lieutenant Grimes served their state in so many dedicated ways in such a brief span of years in their lives. They took pride in their uniform. They took pride in their duties. And they took pride in the fact that they were someone whose job it was to defend the state and the people they loved. They believed that being a member of the Oklahoma Highway Patrol was an honor and a high calling. In the business world, when a team of employees is working on a project, often there is competition to be selected by the manager to be the point person, the one through whom questions, updates, even decisions will flow. That position can be empowering, full of responsibility, and yes, even a bit heady, full of self. But in the world of fighting evil, being the point, being out front, being first in the line of battle is the most dangerous. Young and Summers engaged those 2 escapees in an effort to prevent more civilians from being killed. Being at the point cost them their lives. Lieutenant Grimes and Lieutenant Hughes next encountered the 2 fugitives and also engaged them in an effort to prevent further civilian deaths. Being at the point cost Lieutenant Grimes his life. It is dangerous. It is risky, but it must be done or there would be no protection for the rest of us. Those willing to go first into the line of fire, those point men, are there to save lives, even if they must give their own life in the process. If I could say something to the Oklahoma citizens who are not here today, I would try to say more than, please remember these fallen heroes. I want us to do more than remember. I want us to honor them. Not just for what they did for all of us on that day 40 years ago, but for what they and their brothers and sisters in brown do for us, each and every one of us, each and every day and night, when they put on their uniform, climb in their unit, and go do their jobs to the best of their abilities. Their shifts are rarely routine, and we rarely take the time to say thanks, much less honor them. Today, may we begin to change that, not just with this new memorial, but in our hearts. We are here today to rededicate this rebuilt memorial to these 3 heroes. This rebuilt memorial is the result of their OHP brothers and sisters having a vision and meeting the challenge. As we appreciate their selfless workmanship and celebrate the lives this memorial honors, let us recall the exemplary lives of our heroes to teach us the benefits of courage, commitment, persistence, honor. Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, "A hero is no braver than an ordinary man, but he is braver 5 minutes longer." These troopers, not one of them would probably consider himself a hero, but each of them was braver a little bit longer than the rest. I agree when Thomas Paine said long, long ago, "I love the man that can smile in trouble, then can gather strength from distress and grow brave by reflection. 'Tis the business of little minds to shrink, but he whose heart is firm and whose conscience approves his conduct will pursue his principles unto death." On behalf of a grateful state, we thank you, the families, and these communities for giving these heroes a foundation, a conscience of principles, of passion, and of courage to fight to protect all of us, and for giving us a place to always remember them, and more importantly, to forever honor them. Thank you.
Okay, now I'm going to ask Captain Ronnie Hampton to come up and give a timeline and short narrative of the events of that day. Captain.
Good morning. With every tragedy, there's a story that precedes that tragedy, and this one started 40 years ago in 34 days. Claude Dennis and Michael Lancaster were both sentenced to Oklahoma State Penitentiary. Dennis for murdering 3 people, and Lancaster for robbery. On April the 23rd, 1978, about 3 p.m., they tunneled out from behind the walls, and McAllister broke into a prison guard's residence, took his wife and child hostage, and then armed themselves with numerous weapons and took the family vehicle. For the next 34 days, they went on a crime spree of rape, robbery, shooting at police officers, killing civilians, and caused fear and panic, especially amongst the people of Bryan County. The people that were victims to this crime wave started the day after their escape with James Sumner over in Gertie, Oklahoma. James is still missing as we sit here today. He nor his car has ever been found. However, the vehicle stolen that day was found behind his barn. The following day, numerous residences were being burglarized on the north end of Lake Texoma in Bryan County. One of the weapons stolen from the first residence broken into was recovered on the other side of this fence inside the vehicle the day of the shootout. David Bobo, 26-year-old male from Farmersville, Texas, went missing. His body was later found, and equipment that belonged to him was found during the crime scene. Mathal Thanikel, a gas station employee in Garland, Texas, was murdered by Dennis Lancaster. James Dowdy was reported missing from East Texas. His vehicle and his body was later found. Suspect Denison Lancaster. Bobby Spencer, a 28-year-old convenience store owner in Denison, Texas, was murdered inside of his business. His wife kidnapped, who later escaped, was able to report that Dennis and Lancaster were on the banks of the Red River kicking off a large manhunt. Dennis and Lancaster broke into the residence of a 16-year-old male in Denison, Texas, kept him hostage all day long before stealing a vehicle and traveling up to Roth, actually in Johnston County, where they tried to break in on a lady and then kicking off another large manhunt. Dennis and Lancaster stole a vehicle from the Roth area, and the next sighting of them was when they shot a Butler, Alabama police officer. The following day, they shot at an Alabama state trooper. On April the 23rd, 1978, they murdered Stacy Beavers inside her residence in Cuba, Alabama, stealing her vehicle and returning back to Bryan County, about 8 miles west of us. The vehicle was located by a report into Troop E headquarters, and Lieutenant Mike Williams responded and got the NCIC hit on the vehicle, kicking off probably one of the largest manhunts the Oklahoma Highway Patrol participated in. Almost 160 members of the Oklahoma Highway Patrol from every station in Oklahoma was sent to this area to participate in this manhunt, along with law enforcement officers, police officers, sheriff's deputies, game wardens, OSBI agents, Texas Rangers, Texas Highway Patrol. Numerous officers for 2.5 days participated in a manhunt. But unfortunately, on May the 26th, 1978, at 10:30 in the morning, Russell Washington contacted the Oklahoma Highway Patrol to let the dispatcher know that Dennis and Lancaster just took him and his farmhand hostage, and they had left in his 1978 blue Chevrolet pickup, traveling north on Highway 48, approximately 6 miles west of here. Dispatch put out a call to any unit with a partner to be on the lookout. Dennis and Lancaster was mobile, and they were approximately 5 miles south of Kenefic. Trooper Summers and Trooper Young responded to that call and engaged Dennis and Lancaster in a gun battle on a county road west of here. Unfortunately, they were killed, and Dennis and Lancaster continued on eastbound on that county road, where it was picked up by an OHP aircraft. OHP aircraft started calling for units in the Caddo area, and Lieutenant Hughes and Lieutenant Grimes responded to that call along with other units. As Dennis and Lancaster came into Caddo on a city street back behind us, they began to travel south. The aircraft is directing OHP units in. As Lieutenant Hughes and Lieutenant Grimes traveled on the city street right behind us, they made a right-hand turn, traveled westbound on this street, as Dennis and Lancaster pulled into the driveway behind us. The sirens caused, this was a Friday at this time of day. Numerous kids were out of school playing in the neighborhood. Many of them began to converge on the area because they thought the sirens were fire trucks. As Lieutenant Hoyt Hughes and Pat Grimes made the corner, they feared that Dennis and Lancaster was going to take some of the kids standing on this street corner over here hostage. So using their vehicle to block Dennis and Lancaster from being able to access those children, a gunfight ensued into this driveway right behind us. As a result of that gunfight, additional troopers came on the scene, and Dennis and Lancaster were killed. 34 days of tragedy had ended, but the memory of what happened didn't. Many changes came about for the Highway Patrol. Troopers are now armed with semi-automatic rifles and other modern things. So, you know, when we think of the sacrifice that was given here, we have to remember, right, all the people that were lost, right, in those 34 days. We got to remember what's in the heart of every police officer, everybody standing here wearing a badge, and everybody that you've seen stand up earlier. Okay? They left their houses, they traveled here to this location to protect people that they didn't even know. And that's what law enforcement officers did. Unfortunately, it cost 3 brave state troopers their lives. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to introduce the families. I'm going to start as the monuments are set. This one will be Bill Young's monument. I want to introduce the Young family, and guys, help me out here if I mess up. I think I've got everybody listed. I have Bob Young is a son, Lee Young is a son, Bob's family, our wife is Kathy. We have Courtney and Cassie. We have Natalie and James York. And we have Kylie, is that correct, Bob? Okay, and we also have Martha Sullivan. We have Jolene Wolfenbarger. Did I get that right? I had to do the phonics thing on that one, guys. And I have Derek Sullivan. I also have Lee's wife, Linda, son-in-law Scott Paul, and daughter Sarah Paul, and Levi, is that right? Okay. Did I miss anybody? Is that everybody? Okay. That is the Bill Young family. Let's give them an applause, please. And the people from Houston Pappy Summers family. We have the sister-in-law, Wilma Summers. We have the great-nephew, Blair Summers. We have Wilma's daughter, Jamie Burris, and her husband, Paul. We have Maggie and Parker, is that right? Did I miss anybody there? Okay, thank you. Let's give them a round of applause. And then we have the Grimes family. We have Kay Grimes, the spouse and widow. We have Travis and Tracy Yates. We have their sons Trevor, Tanner, and Cregan. We have a cousin, Betty Edmondson, and a son, Bob Edmondson. Is that correct, Mike? Is that okay? All right, thank you. And we also have members of the Hoyt Hughes family here today, and I just would like to recognize them. Let's see if I've got everybody right here. I know I'm going to mess this one up. We have Kara and Kelly Hughes. We have Rhonda and Doyle Bailey. We have Leslie and Mike Fling. We have Kinsey Fling. We have Mike, Brittany, and the girls. And we have Noah and Nicole. And Weir and Cindy. I'm not sure of this last name. I can't read it. Somebody help me. Sorry? Bach. Okay. And Faith Bach. Did I forget anybody? Forget everybody? That's the Hoyt Hughes family. Hoyt was with Pat Grimes that day. Okay, now we're going to start the unveiling. I'm going to ask that the Billy Young family please stand. On the monument, it reads, go ahead. On the monument, it reads, Trooper Young, Trooper Houston Pappy Summers, and Second Lieutenant James Grimes were shot and killed while attempting to apprehend two escapees who were wanted for several murders since their escape. Trooper Young and Trooper Summers had been assigned to participate in a search for two McAllister Penitentiary escapees being sought for multiple murders committed after their escape, their flight through 6 states. Trooper Summers and Young encountered the two escapees on a county road near Kenefic and were killed in the resulting gunfight. Second Lieutenant Grimes and his partner were being directed into the area by aircraft when they too were ambushed. Second Lieutenant Grimes was killed in the ensuing gun battle and his partner was wounded. Both suspects were eventually shot and killed by other troopers. Trooper Young had been with the agency for 25 years. Trooper Billy Young, badge 117.
Promise Stewart that I'd be brief. I had about 3 days worth of things to say, but it's too hot. I'd just like to start, one of the things that Dad was proud of was he was a Mason. And the Masons had, in the patrol had started a group, and they were the Masonic degree team. This was Dad's apron. And Pappy Summers was also a member of the degree team. And when I received my invitation from retired trooper Paul Rome, Paul had stated that the degree team had conferred the Master of Mason degree on him on March 30th, 1978. One of the things I've got here, and I've condensed it down, and I wanted this to be about Dad, but in the end, this is going to be about every trooper that's in a brown shirt. This is from an article from the Old Woodward County Journal of December 1960. It says, this article will expose police traps. I rode with a good cop, Trooper Bill Young of Woodward, Oklahoma. I rode with Bill as he set up speed traps in various sections of Woodward City and Woodward County. Here's the story of how you might get caught in one of Bill's traps. I rode with Bill Young on a Friday night when Woodward played football at Fairview and Winoka played at Moreland. I wanted to see Bill trap unsuspecting football fans. We set up our first speed trap between Woodward and Moreland shortly after sundown. We did it by pulling off the pavement onto a shoulder, turning off the lights, and turning on the speed radar unit, and that was Bill's trap. No signs to hide behind, no parking at the bottom of the hills, no hiding on side roads. Bill explains, we don't have to hide to catch speeders. Just pull off the road and they come to us. Back then, Oklahoma's speed limit was 65 miles per hour in the daytime and 55 at night, unless otherwise posted, and there's no exceptions. In the trunk was a maze of radar and radio equipment, plus a toolbox, 2 chains, a 2-gallon gallon can of gasoline for stranded motorists, and flares to use at an accident scene. And most important was the little black box, the speed radar unit. It's mounted behind the rear seat in the back window. It looks like a black cigar box with 2 plastic fingers pointing out one side, and the unit is mounted on a pulley and rope mechanism so the trooper can aim it out either the front or rear window without leaving the driver's seat. Bill issued 16 tickets that night when I rode with him. I estimate that we saw between 400 to 600 cars pass us that night, so we tagged only 3 to 4% of them. Some of these tickets were only warnings, some were the real McCoy. Half a dozen warnings went to cars with only one headlight or with the taillight out. Some drivers wanted to argue with Bill. Some were meek, some scared, some mad. But with each one, Bill bent over backwards to be polite. We stopped a car from Texas doing 62 miles an hour. When we stopped the car, it was easy to tell the woman passenger was really mad. Before walking up to the car, Bill said, she's getting primed to give me a bunch of lip, but I'll kill her with kindness. When Bill got through talking to the couple, they were both smiling, even if it did cost them $20 to visit our county. It had been a long night. We stopped for a cup of coffee and an early breakfast. I had already worked 8 hours. Bill had already worked 8 hours before that, and I had ridden with him for 9. Certainly, Bill is not a highway patrolman because he's some sort of good Samaritan. He does that work to make a living for his family, just as you and I. He's not out to get revenge, or to pick up drivers, or to trap them, or to make them pay fines. Bill and his partner, Trooper Jim Holland, and all the other patrolmen in Oklahoma have one job: to stop deaths on the highways. It seems odd that drivers feel that they should be trapped when a trooper slows them down to save their own lives. But maybe that's what human nature is. One last thing that I'd like to leave you with. A friend of mine that's retired from the USBI sent this out, and my first thought was, how in the world does somebody keep a courtesy warning for 64 years? And this was written on February 9th, 1954 for an improper muffler. But the thing that, it was my wife that noticed it. Down here at the bottom, that's Dad's name, but that's Mom's signature. The only thing I can figure out is by the time Dad was probably filling out the warning or the ticket, he was probably getting a cramp in his hand, so he probably had Mom just sign his name to a bunch of the ticket. Anyway, thank you for letting me share that with you.
You know, it's been brought to my attention that I forgot a couple of people, so I need to bring up. And one of these people would always remind me not to forget people, so I could be in trouble. Colonel Grimes and his wife, Susie, thank you for being here as well. And also, we have in the audience Lloyd Basinger's wife. Where is she? Is she somewhere? All right, thank you for being here today. Okay, the family of Trooper Summers, please stand, please. I'm going to go ahead and read this as they're going up. Trooper Houston Pappy Summers, Trooper Billy Young, and Second Lieutenant Pat Grimes were shot and killed while attempting to apprehend two suspects who were wanted for several murders since their escape. Trooper Summers and Trooper Young had been assigned to participate in the search for two McAllister Penitentiary escapees being sought for multiple murders committed after their escape in their flight through 6 states. Trooper Summers and Trooper Young encountered the two escapees on a county road near Kenefic and were killed in the resulting gun battle. Trooper Summers had served with the Oklahoma Highway Patrol for 32 years. Trooper Houston Pappy Summers. The family of James Pat Grimes, would you please stand? The inscription reads, Second Lieutenant Pat James Pat Grimes, Trooper Houston Pappy Summers, Trooper Billy Young were shot and killed while attempting to apprehend two McAllister Penitentiary escapees who were wanted for several murders since their escape. Trooper Summers and Trooper Young were shot and killed while on a roving patrol on County Road when they came across the suspects in a recently stolen truck. Both troopers were killed in the ensuing gun battle. Second Lieutenant Grimes and Second Lieutenant Hoyt Hughes located the two McAllister Penitentiary escapees involved in an earlier gunfight with Troopers Young and Summers near Kenefic when the escapees drove their stolen pickup into a Caddo residence yard. Trooper Lloyd Basinger, pilot of the OHP aircraft, and Trooper David Blackburn, his observer, had spotted the stolen vehicle and guided OHP units until the convicts stopped their vehicle. Second Lieutenant Grimes was killed in the resulting gunfight, and Second Lieutenant Hoyt Hughes was seriously injured before the two escapees themselves were shot and killed by troopers. Second Lieutenant Grimes had been with the agency for 12 years. Second Lieutenant James Pat Grimes, number 88.
That day, 3 troopers gave their lives. But not only those 3 troopers, but everyone that had worked on this manhunt, everyone that had worked on the manhunts across the country, Texas troopers, Texas Rangers, Oklahoma troopers from all over the state, they were also willing to put their lives in front of these 2 people that had decided to have a rampage across our country and put a stop to it before more lives were given. Each and every one that puts on that brown uniform, our blue uniform, our black uniform of law enforcement, puts on that badge, whether it be a sheriff, a trooper, a police officer, from any state, are willing each and every day to put their lives forward. I appreciate Pat was my twin brother. I appreciate the honor that's been bestowed on each of these troopers today, but also remember each and every trooper, each and every police officer that out there each and every day that does that same thing and places their same lives on the line. I appreciate immensely the troopers that saw that this ended here in Canada that day and made a stop that these two people could go no further and take no more lives. I appreciate each and every one of you being here to recognize that today. Thank you all very much.
Okay, I know I saw him earlier. I haven't recognized him yet. Mayor Ron Fryer, I need him and Councilwoman Rebecca Alexander to please come up. This is the monument that was here previously. We've since taken that monument and had it cleaned up, and we wanted it to become a part of this as well. And we just want to thank the community of Caddo for everything that they've done for us, and we want you to be a part of this unveiling as well. This monument read, Trooper Billy G. Young, 50, and Trooper Houston F. Summers, 62, killed 1 mile south and 1 3/10 miles east of Highway 22 and 48 Junction, southeast of Kenefic, Oklahoma, and 2 LT Pat Grimes, 36, killed in front of 510 Court Street in Caddo, Oklahoma. These men gave their lives in the line of duty May 26, 1978, ending a month-long 3-state murder spree by 2 Oklahoma prison escapees. And then there's a quote, "It's only the inspiration of those who die that makes those who live realize what constitutes a useful life." Will Rogers. Unveil it, please. Thank you. Who's Dave Lightning? Dave, you want to come up here and unveil this? Let me read this while he's coming up here. This is a narrative of what occurred that day, and this is what's on the monument. In what has been described as the darkest day in the annals of the Oklahoma Highway Patrol, 3 troopers were slain on May 26, 1978, in 2 separate shootouts with 2 escaped Oklahoma State Prison convicts in Caddo-Kenefic area of Bryan County. 3 troopers killed in the tragedy were Trooper Houston F. Pappy Summers, badge 153, age 62, and Trooper Billy G. Young, badge 117, age 50, both members of the Motor Vehicle Inspection Division, who had been assigned to assist in tracing down the felons, and Second Lieutenant Pat Grimes, number 88, age 36, who with his partner, Second Lieutenant Hoyt Hughes, Internal Affairs Division, also had drawn an assignment to search for the escapees. Hughes was injured in the gunfight exchange but recovered from his wounds. Trooper Summers and Trooper Young were found slain on a lonely county road near Kenefic following a shootout with the 2 state penitentiary escapees, who earlier had stolen a Bryan County farmer's pickup truck and weapons, later encountering the 2 troopers as they searched the area for the 2 felons. Following an engage of gunfire which mortally wounded both Summers and Young, the escapees sped in the stolen pickup into the small town of Caddo, setting up an ambush point in a brushy area at a residence. As Second Lieutenant Grimes and Second Lieutenant Hughes responded to the resident to intercept the convicts, they were fired upon by a pair from ambush, and Second Lieutenant Grimes suffered fatal wounds. Second Lieutenant Hughes was hit in the shoulder and arm. Second Lieutenant Hughes exited his cruiser and fired point blank at the hidden suspects. Despite his wounds, he was able to put an end to one of the 2 convicts. A few seconds later, Second Lieutenant Mike Williams of the Durant Detachment fatally wounded the 2nd convict, bringing an end to a 34-day trial of terror, which the 2 convicts had carried out in a 6-state flight to Alabama and back to Oklahoma, following their towing out of the state penitentiary at McAllister. In addition to the 3 OHP troopers, 5 people were killed by the escaped convicts and 3 others wounded as the pair blazed a murderous trail from their prison confines in search of freedom. Summers was a 32-year OHP veteran stationed with the MVI Division in Enid. Young attached to the Woodward Division of the Motor Vehicle Inspection Division. Had been with the patrol 25 years. Lieutenant Grimes was completing his 12 years of OHP service. David, would you do the honors, please?
Start bowling. Ready, aim, fire. Ready, fire. Ready, fire. Order, form. Ready, face. Present.